Join me this October where I'll be celebrating Halloween. 31 zine reviews in 31 days. Joining me will be my friend Beanie. Hi, welcome to Halloween. We are going to review Desiccated Temple of Locha today, which is an old school essential adventure. And just so that you have an idea of what old school essentials is here's the player's tome and the referee's tome. And old school essentials is essentially the old basic Dungeons and Dragons rule set. And the folks at Necrotic Gnome have taken all the contents of the stuff from the basic set and tried to put it into a more, I guess, cohesive look and tables, and everybody really raves about how nice it is to read, and it's just very an efficient way to organize the information. And so they've done a really good job at creating a new rule set for old school essentials, OSE as it is called. And so you can pick those up at Exalted Funeral, as well as many other places. Necrotic Gnome has their own website and social media, so you should check that out. But this is an old school essential adventure, which you can buy at Exalted Funeral by Andy Duval. Desiccated Temple of Locha, awesome name, and you can see the awesome fish photo here. I'm assuming that's a fish photo. It looks like an ancient prehistoric fish. And the idea behind the adventure is this spire that sticks up in the middle of the desert. So a lone pillar juts out of the baked sand, exposed after countless millennia. It appears to be grown from coral, but nowhere close to the sea. The Desiccated Temple of Locha is a short adventure module for low-level characters designed to be completed in 4 to 5 hours. Drop it into your existing campaign or play it as a one-shot. As mentioned, designed for use with old school essentials, but any flavor of the old style games of BX or the BECME, or even Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, you could probably get away with Dungeon Crawl Classics, probably. So Basic Fantasy, Osric, all those old games that you should check out. But any old school Renaissance or revival. Once again, this is by Andy Duval, and some special thanks in here. I always like seeing these of people that have contributed. I always like the ones for the, and this one in particular, my long-suffering partner, Valerie. So thanks to Valerie for this, supporting Andy in his efforts. And so you come upon the pillar in the middle of the desert, and I always thought that was kind of cool. In the Sahara Desert, there have been cave paintings or etchings that, or carvings that did showcase that at one point there was fish there, and in the Sahara Desert. So I kind of like the play on this fact that, you know, even though it's a dry desert, there used to be a deep water pool there. And as you can see down into the bottom of the pit as you enter. And so just to get you an idea, and Andy is very good at choosing words that I actually really don't know what they mean, and maybe you do, but there's some tomes. So this is a bit of a randomness part of it. There's some tomes that you can find within the temple. And so there's the, let's just choose words that I can pronounce. Hadal, Rokal, Catalogus. So adjective, subject, and format. And then when you read one of these, there's a 1d6 thing. If you, there's one any chance to inhale spores, and then that lasts 2d6 rounds, and the effect of it is 1 through 6, and there's different effects, you know, things like you can actually, you're hallucinating, but you can actually use any member of your party's abilities as your own, because you're kind of traveling through their spirit, or their spirit is entering into you. You're hallucinating that you know that. So it's kind of a cool item. There's also tension dice. So for each exploration turn, you add 1d6 to the tension dice pool. When it reaches 6, you roll, and then if there's any 1s within that pool, you get an omen, an ill omen. And if there's 2 1s, then you actually get 2 more severe ill omen. And then often that would be the wandering monster table. And so every good adventure has to have a good wandering monster table. And where this really stands out, and I'm going to skip ahead because I think it's really cool. This was actually an adventure in Knock number 2, the really good magazine by the Merry Mushman, Knock number 2, and it was the like a 1-page dungeon within Knock magazine. So if you haven't checked out Knock, you should, at Merry Mushman. And so this was the original one that was played, and so this booklet is just more of a cleaned up version of it. And while we're here, why don't we just look at some of the art for the cutouts, that if you wanted to cut them out, which and use them in your play like miniatures, but boy, I would never want to wreck the magazine or the zine. So let's just say it looks really good. So I love these isometric maps. It's always nice that the content goes around the map so that it's easy to access for the dungeon master to or the games master to figure out, and you just attach the numbers. So we don't want to go into all this because we don't want to spoil it, but it's just like a fun little dungeon. And then you can see as you enter the temple down these stairs, the next phase of the temple is here. So you keep going down and there's more information there. And a lot of it has to do with the fish worshiping people that used to live here, and the fact that this probably was underwater. So you have that feeling of everything kind of has that algae feel and slime and ooze to it from its former life. So that's, you know, once again, it's in the desert, but the original use of this or location of this was underwater. And so here's the whole map kind of blown up a little bit nicely. So you can see the scheme of the dungeon. And then there's more detailed descriptions on things that you would have found in the dungeon that the little bullets don't go into as much detail. So here's the more detail of it. So it's just a nice quick dungeon based upon this. Love the isometric map, love the little hand notes. Nice dungeon. Andy Duvall created that. You can get it at Exalted Funeral, compatible with Old School Essentials, and it's just like a fun little adventure that you can drop into your game. And so Beanie, what did you think of this adventure? Couldn't agree more. Once again, this is part of Zine, 31 zines in 31 days. And if you'd like to be entered into a draw for $200 from Exalted Funeral, go to my website, diegoodgames.com, and follow along throughout the month.
Happy Halloween, ladies.